Let's now talk about strings in Python. Strings are really very important concept in Python, so we are going to cover them in great detail, which is why we have an entire section dedicated to strings. Also, you are going to see this handbook, which is very important for you because some of the things you're not able to remember. So I've made sure that I've added those things in the handbook. Let me start by creating a new folder here, and I'll name this folder as 10_strings.py. We already know what strings are, but it would be great to explore them in great detail because string is something that you will keep on entering throughout your Python and even programming career. So let's get started by writing our first string program, and let me name it string.py. We already know if we say name is equal to double quote Harry, this is a string, and we can print a string by print name. And if I run this program, it's so obvious that it's going to print Harry, right? But you can also create a string by using a single quote. So you can either use double quote, you can even do something like name is equal to single quote Harry, and this is going to yield the same result. You can even use triple quotes, more on that later, but you can use triple quotes. But you might argue the triple quote was for comments, right? Why is it for strings? Okay, so the thing is, when you write triple quotes and you write something inside of it, it creates a string, okay? And since it is a valid Python code, it remains there as a comment. To avoid the confusion, you can remember this as something like triple quote is used for a multi-line strings, and triple quote is also used for comments in Python. For now, remember it like this. And as we move forward in this course, you are going to understand everything very nicely, okay? So if I run this program, you are going to see Harry once again on the screen. So these are the three ways to write Python strings. You can even use double triple quotes. So you can do something like a single quote. You can enclose some characters in single quote to create a string. You can use double quotes, and you can even use triple quotes like this, or double triple quotes like this, okay? And this is how you can create a string. But with triple quotes, you can create a multi-line string. So if you try to create a multi-line string using single quote, you cannot do that. Let me show it to you. Even if you try to write something like Harry is you cannot do that. No, you can't do that. It's not valid. It's not allowed. Okay, if you run this program, no, you can't do that. Sorry, you can't do that. Okay, but if you try this out with a triple quote, you can do that. Let me show it to you. So if you say something like Harry is a good boy, and if you try to run this, you'll see Harry is a good boy. So the special case of triple quotes allows us to write multi-line strings. So you might argue, why can't we always write a triple quote string? Well, you can do that always, but again, it's very convenient when you want to make sure that your string is a single line string and it's not a multi-line string. So sometimes you might have a new line character in your code by accident, and you want to make sure that you are using single quote, because let us say I'm writing a program like this. Listen to me very carefully. Let us say I'm writing a program like this and accidentally I press an enter key. With triple quotes, this will be a valid Python program, and I will keep on wondering why my program is not producing the output of my choice or the output that I expect. But with triple quotes, you will not get this error. So if you are sure that your string is going to contain a single line, you should always use a single quote or double quote, okay? So this was about single quoted, double quoted, and triple quoted strings. All right, let's now talk about indexing in Python. So a string can be indexed, and if you want to index a string, you can do something like name 0. Let me show it to you by creating another program. So let's say indexing.py. Let us say I have a name string and I have Harry here. I can always say print, and I can say something like name 0, and this will print H for me. Now 0 means the first character. So in programming, counting starts from 0. This might sound very strange for people who are new to programming, but let me tell you that counting in programming starts with 0. So 0 means the first character, 1 means second character, 2 means third character, and so on. So if I write name 0, I'll see H printed on the screen. So H is printed on the screen, and let us say I want to also print other characters. I can do something like name1, name2, name3. I can always do that. And once I do that, you'll see that H, A and R are printed on the screen, which is great. Okay, so you can always print the character of your choice from the string. So if you see this, if you look at this string, H is at position 0, then this is at 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you say print name 4, you are going to see Y. So we can have 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, let's run this program and HARRY is printed on the screen. Alright, so what will happen if we do, or if we try to do print name 5? Let's try this out. Now you might think that, hey Harry, we just have 5 characters, so we can go from 0 to 4. 0 to 4 are 5 characters. 0 to 1 is 2 characters. 0 to n is n plus 1 characters. Okay, so don't get confused there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. What if we do 5? What will happen? It will throw an error. Let me show it to you. So if I try to run a program like this, it will simply tell me that, hey, this is not allowed. And it is basically telling me index error, string index out of range, which means that, hey, the thing is that you cannot print name 5 because we don't have name 5 in this string. The string is not long enough to print name 5 for you. So we learned about string indexing and we learned about positive indices. But what if we type something like -1? What will happen? So the -1 is the last character. Okay, so if I show you this HARRY, let me write a comment here and let me show you something. H is at position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So H is at position 0, A is at position 1, R is at position 2, another R is at position 3 and Y is at position 4. Let me copy this and let me put it down in the comments so that it is easier for me to explain it to you. So I'll remove it from here and I'll add a space here. Okay, so it's 0 all the way till, it's 0 all the way till 4. Okay, so 0 is H, 1 is A, 2 is R, 3 is R and 4 is Y. Okay, and we have seen the output. What will happen if we do something like -1? So the thing is -1 is again 4 and -2 is again 3 and -3 is again 2 and -4 is again 1. Let me add a space and let me align it correctly so that you can understand what I mean. So 0 is H, 1 is A, 2 is R, 3 is R, 4 is Y. Now what is -1? Let's try to print -1, -2, -3. Let me comment this out. And instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's try to print name -1. Okay, and let's try to print -1, -2, -3. Let's try this out. And it's very important for you to understand what are negative indices. So we have -1, -2, -3, -4. Let's see what the output is going to be. And we got Y, then R, then R, then A. And then if we do -5, we are going to get H. So if we do -5, we are going to get H. So basically we got this string in reverse. Now, if you encounter a negative index, what will you do? The thing is, what you do is you just add the size of the string to that negative index to convert it to a positive index and then resolve your string. For example, the moment you see name -4, it is as good as saying name 5 - 4, which is name 1. You can add the length of the string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This string has 5 characters. The length of the string is 5. So you can simply add, which means you can do 5 - 4. -4 plus 5 is 1. If you know the basic maths, you can simply do something like -4 plus 5. Always add the length of the string and then you can convert it to name 1. Okay, you can try this with any index and you will get the hang of it. I hope that you were able to understand it. It will be very difficult for you to manipulate negative indices in your head. So it's always a good idea to convert a negative index to a positive index, and you can always do that by subtracting the number of negative index. For example, the integer of negative index here is 4. So I'll subtract 4 from 5. I'll simply say 5 minus 4 and it will give me 1. And name 1 is essentially what name 4 mean. This is how I can convert a negative index to a positive index. And it is really very straightforward now that name 1 implies A. And sometimes it gets very difficult, but sometimes you'll get a hang of it. So it depends on you. For me, it's easy to convert a negative index to a positive index. And for a lot of my students, they have always reported me that they are comfortable with positive indices instead of negative indices. So you know how all this works. I hope that you are enjoying this course. This is how strings work in Python. I have a lot to cover in strings in Python because this is a really very important topic. Let's move on to our next topic in the next video. See you all there.